G'day guys, welcome back to the show. Just want to touch a little bit upon types of finishes I use once I've made my projects, and these can come in different forms. It's not specific to anything, but they can be a little bit specific. If you're creating something that's going to be in the elements outside, you're going to have something that's more suitable for that. So I'll just explain that as I'm going. Now, I'm just going to show you some of the things I use when I do my finishing. Hand protection. Now, in the finishes there are potentially things that we as woodworkers or just do-it-yourself people, we don't know exactly what's in here. So, to give ourselves the best protection we can, it's always best to follow some guidelines at least. Now, I use hand protection. I'm in a pretty well ventilated shop, so it's sort of inherent that you do the best you can. And these products also, I'm using a product today that has a tint, a Jarrah sort of colouring, which gives it that Jarrah timber effect. And if you get that on your hands, look, it won't knock you out or anything, but it'll potentially just stain your hands and it'll be there for a while. Look a bit ugly, but never mind. So just try to avoid it. Now, product I'm using here is probably an all-round product. It's a tung oil, and as I said, it has a Jarrah tint in it. So I'm just going to demonstrate a little bit on. I'm also using a rag. Good to buy yourself a bag of rags from the hardware store. They make light work of applying a finish to a product. Paintbrushes are good. There's other little things. I mean, if you've got a ability to do spray your finishes, that's even better. But for this task, I'm just going to show you what I do as far as finishing. So just you scrunch up your rag and just lightly dip it into your, so you get enough to go throughout your rag. And I'm just going to demonstrate here. This is our stool from last week. So I'll just apply a nice even coating of this stain. Now this stuff is great. It absorbs very quick, short drying time, but follow the guidelines that are given on the tins and let the appropriate amount of time pass until you apply your next coat. Always go for about 2 or 3 coats on your finishes. Trust me, it'll bring out the best in your product. So just nice long strokes, work it in. So another benefit of using one of these cheap, inexpensive rags is that you tend to have, if you've got a light consistency in your finish, it tends to create runs if you're using a paintbrush or something else. So the good thing is here, if we don't over dampen our rags with our product, we can work it into the timber and also eliminate any runs, which really do make the end product look terrible. So it's a good idea. Even if you have a supplementary rag, you can have your initial rag to work your product in, and then your supplementary rag just to, if you have any runs, just to go over the top and get rid of those, and just work it in and sort of work in tandem, and you'll get the best results. So at present, guys, I'm taking on a build for a project for our home. So I'm just making an outdoor setting where I've built the table, and I'm just making the tops now for the seating, and I've also built the base for the seat. Now I'll just go a little bit into types of ways you can finish any build you have. You can either select a colour, which will be a continuous colour throughout the whole build. So if you're using hardwood, you probably not necessarily want to stain that. It's you'll select your hardwood and it'll have your beautiful grain run and the natural colour that the timber grows. So I'm using treated pine. Treated pine is quite weatherproof to an extent. Obviously not as good as hardwood, but for the price factor, this is all I can afford to build this setting. But so I'll just show you. Treated pine is what it is. It's not a bad looking finish. This is the actual decking stuff, but it's quite satisfactory for building anything outdoors. And we're going to be putting cushions upon this so it'll hide any defects. So important thing is for putting a finish in, we want to apply a good solid coat onto our ends. This will ensure that not too much weather gets in and penetrates, and then whatever happens after that is probably where you're going to end up swearing, why did I not do the right thing at the start? So run it in, work it in, and apply it quite liberally. Now we can see there's already a big difference here. Treated pine look here. Some of the Jarrah decking, beautiful. When it comes to these products, they can at times get quite expensive. Some shops should have specials throughout the year, price matching, so that's the time to go out and buy. If you're doing a lot of projects and you've got your mind set on particular statements that you want to put in colouring, go out and get it then. One of the European chains which opened up in Australia approximately 15-20 years ago, perhaps more, I'm not sure. Once a year they tend to have the same product come back into stock, and I was fortunate enough, I discovered this. This is an acrylic based stain. It's made over in Germany, so I like to think it's pretty good. Also, it's a 5 litre tin, so I think it's a little bit irregular to the size of products we have here in Australia. Generally we have 4 litre, and I think we go up to 6 litre to 10 litre in those type of increments. But anyhow, this only costs about $30, and I've used this for some indoor builds, and I tell you what, it comes up Mickey Mouse grouse. That's the best thing I could say about it. So once you've completed colouring your product, your build, you may want to apply a finish that seals everything in. So a tung oil will penetrate into the wood and give it the coloration, and these type of products, which is a polyurethane, oil modified, water-based. I love working with water-based stuff. The oil-based stuff is just gloggy and claggy, and it's just terrible, I reckon. But that's just a personal choice, and I find this is great stuff. You can use a satin finish. This is a clear gloss. It's just a matter of doing a little bit of research. Most stores do have colour charts where you can look at, all right, this is the effect if I put that on, and then apply something else to it. So it's just a matter of doing a bit of homework, like everything in life. If you do a bit of homework, you get the right result, which is going to suit you the best. So here I just want to talk a little bit about the contrast. This is the one of the seats I'm making. Now this is just the raw finish before any coating's applied. I'm going to be painting this with an outdoor paint in a beige type colour. Now, as we can see, I've already stained and put the top down. The base for the table is actually also painted. So I find these colours, the colour match scheme is not too far apart, and it's not too bad on the eye, And I suppose once again, these are personal choices you make when looking at whatever finish you want to look. It has to fit into, I suppose, your surroundings, and the best way to do that is just play colours against other colours, and you know, as I said, if you're using hardwood, sometimes all you need to do is just put a nice clear good finish on, and that'll highlight the beauty in the timber itself. So it's a personal choice, but one you've got to make. Yeah, so guys, if you probably notice I'm sweating profusely here, and I just want to highlight that it's been noted that this year is a record hottest summer season in Australia in history. So that's quite an interesting fact. I live in the southern states of Australia, where generally we do cop the hottest dry weather, and I'm in Victoria, and this state is prone to bushfires, which, touch wood, or that, they haven't occurred this year thus far, but that's not to say it can't happen. In parts of northern Australia, Queensland and New South Wales, they're hitting some pretty high temperatures, up around 46, 47 degrees Celsius, and I think that equates to about 115, 117 degrees in the Fahrenheit scale. So it's quite tough conditions to put up with, and yeah, just fingers crossed that the bushfire season doesn't trigger off any, you know, terrible events that have happened in the past here in Australia. So yeah, that's why I'm sweating more than a snail about to climb the mountain. So once again, thank you very much for tuning in. This was pretty much a quick tip. I was in the process of doing a particular job covering the timbers for the outdoor seats, and just thought I might touch on slightly the process I go through when I'm applying these finishes. So if this helps you, I'm really happy. And I've watched a lot of things in the past where I've then taken the knowledge given to me from some other chap or some other lass and utilise that, and it's very gratifying and rewarding. So thanks for watching. If you liked this particular segment on Sumo's projects, please give it a thumbs up, and please subscribe. I'll try to put out videos on a regular basis, and also please leave comments in the comment section if you have any questions, or just can give me some tips. I'm always open to advice. So thanks again, and see you next time round.